Welcome to the farm.
Welcome to the farm. I'm Justin, and recently I did a video where I was making a greasable pin for my grapple project that I'm currently working on. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to that video in the description, and you can check it out and see what I'm talking about. But I ended up having to drill lots of holes in this pin, and currently all I have is a benchtop drill press, which does not have a big range in height. So by the time you do the chuck, the big drill bit, the clamp, the plate, the pin standing up on end, it was getting really tight. So that's actually one of the shorter pins like this that I actually have to make. I have some longer pins that I have to make too that clearly will not fit in that drill press. So today, I got a new drill press and we're gonna work on setting it up. So here's the drill press I picked up. It's a Harbor Freight Central Machinery drill press. I have a few other Central Machinery tools here in the shop, and I've been pretty happy with them. They've been working pretty good, so I figured why not give the drill press a try. For the price, I couldn't go wrong. I mean, a nice drill press would be like 3 times the cost of this one. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna set this thing up and see how it does. Well, we got all the stuff laid on the workbench here. Everything's looking pretty good. I don't see any like damaged parts, broken parts, nothing like that. Everything's got a nice coat of oil on the bare metal surfaces, so there's no rust or pitting or anything like that. Looking good. I did take a quick peek through the directions, and I gotta admit, those are not very good. However, I kind of anticipated that going in because I've assembled a few of these Central Machinery things, and the directions have always been kind of lacking. They're mostly all words. There's no identification of the different parts that I saw. You know, it refers to screw 40, but it doesn't tell you what screw 40 is. And there's not a lot of pictures or diagrams. Through my quick browse through, I think we're going to be able to assemble this pretty easily. So let's get started and find out. So here's the spot I chose for my stand-up drill press. It's going to work out great right at the end of the workbench here, in between the workbench and the post. It's kind of dead space anyway. It'll keep it tucked out of the way of the rest of the shop and won't interfere with moving tractors and all kinds of other stuff. The other nice benefit to putting it here is my other drill press is right there. So if I need to, I have a setup there where I could drill one hole, move over here, and if I needed to drill a different size hole or do something different, I can do it without having to swap bits and readjust clamps and all that kind of stuff. I can get 2 processes set up at once, which I think will be really awesome. Now the directions did say you're supposed to anchor the stand-up one to the ground. Obviously I have a dirt floor in here, so that's not going to happen. But what I did do is I kind of raked out the gravel, leveled it out a little bit, and I put a heavy piece of plywood down just to keep the drill press up out of the dirt and keep the base from rusting. Hopefully that'll help with the longevity of the tool. Well, I'm excited. Let's go grab the first piece, start setting it up. First thing we need to do is bolt this tube to the base, and it comes with 4 bolts, 4 washers, 4 lock washers. It should just thread right in. Now we can slide in the tube, and then we can tighten the set screws. Now, it did come with Allen's, but I'm just going to use my sockets just because it's quicker and easier for me. So next we can install the arm that holds the table, and the directions call for us to install the worm gear and have to grease it lightly. That was already done for me in the box. What I did do though is add the bar in here, and this just slides in and engages with the wheel. And we're just going to hold that in place. Slide right over the top of our tube. There we go. Now as I slide this down, I want this sharp point on the tooth rail here to sit in a little recess on the base, just like that. So now we can install our top locking collar that'll hold this rail in place. Just need to slide that right over the top. We want to make sure that it's not too tight on the rail here so it has room to slide, so I'm going to hold it up just a little bit. And then we're going to tighten down the set screw. I'm putting the set screw in the back just because I think it's going to look better. The directions did warn not to over tighten it because it can deform the collar and keep your rail from spinning. And now we should be able to spin this all the way around. Now I'm going to install the height adjustment handle, and I want to make sure that the set screw ends up on the flat. All right. So the base is pretty much assembled now. I left the table off. The directions showed the table on through this whole process. I don't think you want it on because it just sits in here with compression. I think it's gonna make things heavier, more awkward. I'm still gonna leave it off just because now we're at the point where we have to lift the head onto here. Directions call for 2 people to lift the head. I'm gonna see if I can do it by myself, but I really just don't want that table in my way. There we go. I got the head on the unit. I got it pretty much aligned with the base. The directions say there's 4 set screws to tighten this down. I only see 2. There's no diagram to show me where the set screws are, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten these 2 and call it good. So now we can go ahead and thread in our handles. I can install our table. So the next task I want to take care of is setting the tension on my belts and setting my speed. What you need to do is there's 2 knobs, one on each side, that lock the tension. You want to loosen those, and then this lever right here is your tension. So I got the tension backed off. Since I'm doing mostly steel, I'm going to go with the 640 setting. Seems kind of like a happy medium from what I've researched. I could be very wrong on that. But I need to change the orientation on my belts here. Okay, so I want this belt on the second setting. And then I want this belt on the top setting. And that should be my 640 RPM range. What we need to do is adjust the tension until we got about a 1/2 inch of play with reasonable thumb pressure on the belts. And I think that's right about there. Then we can go ahead and tighten our 2 screws that hold the tension in place. And these belts will stretch a little bit, so we'll end up having to come back through and retighten them. The last major piece we need to install is the chuck itself. And this is a press fit chuck. Hopefully it'll be pretty easy to install. Let's go ahead and wipe some of this oil off so it's easier to handle. But essentially what we need to do is we need to open up the jaw all the way so that the feet are completely hidden inside the chuck. Then we need to adjust our table height so it's within 6 inches of our spindle. That's right at 6 inches. Now we need to place a board on there, and our chuck, like I said, is compression fit. So we just lower until it's nice and tight. So essentially our drill press is ready to go. I did put quite a bit of force down on this. I was actually flexing the table a little bit. I didn't want to do anything more than that because I didn't want to snap or break anything. So I'm hoping that this chuck is on tight enough. Time will tell when we start drilling, and if this thing starts spinning on the spindle, then we know I don't have it tight enough. But there's a couple little accessories I want to put on this thing, and then I think we're ready to test it out. So I want to install the oil catch jug, which I'm really excited about because right now on the other drill press, the table's all kind of open with holes, and all the oil I use just drips through all over the workbench onto the ground, and is making a huge mess. So I'm excited that I might be able to actually catch the oil. And the next thing is the actual oil drip container. That should just snap in the side right here, and I'll be able to drip right where I need it. So I got a little bit of oil in the drip container here. It is leaking at the threads, which I gotta say I'm not surprised because it does look like it's kind of crooked and maybe a little cross-threaded. Try to tighten it up a little bit. But let's go ahead and do a little bit of drip testing and see what happens. Ooh, that comes out fast. All right, well, that's good. It's a pretty fast drip. A lot of oil coming out. It's a neat feature. I don't think this works overtly well. I think it's a little clumsy and it leaks. I probably won't use it. I'll just use the spray bottle like I normally do, just because I feel like I'm going to waste a lot of oil because this thing leaks and it drips really fast. So I don't think I'm going to use that part. So essentially the drill press is all done. All the parts that came with the drill press are installed, ready to go. I have one more thing I want to do to it though. I picked up another drill press vise. I love the one I have on the other drill press. I'm hoping that this comes with mounting hardware and we can just bolt this right in and get to work. If not, hopefully I have hardware that will work. Otherwise, we'll just give it a test without the clamp and see how it works. So I got the vise onto the table. It's pretty solid. I'm not happy with the way it's sitting right now, but it'll work. I will figure out something better later, but I want to test this thing out and see how it works. So let's go ahead and flip this thing on and make sure everything works. That sounds pretty good. Chuck worked. So let's grab a scrap piece of steel, let's throw it in here and drill a little hole and see what it does. Got a nice clean hole in it. Drilled pretty nice. I'm actually really impressed with how fast it drilled. I thought it would drill a lot slower. My benchtop one that I have over there does drill a lot slower than this did. So I'm really excited to have this in the shop. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this go together, seeing the test, and I can't wait to put this to use building that grapple. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.